Welcome to the Neuropathy Support Group and Podcast. I'm Chris, and I'm so glad you tuned in. It's my hope with this podcast to help all of us gather information that might help those that need support dealing with this debilitating issue. Hello, and welcome to this podcast. Before we get started, let's get the formalities out of the way with the medical and privacy disclaimer. I am not a doctor or medical professional. The information on this podcast is from personal experiences and is meant for group support. Additionally, the information discussed is not meant to diagnose, treat, or cure any underlying conditions associated with neuropathy. All names here within are private and will not be shared with any outside sources. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any health decisions. If you have medical concerns or an immediate emergency, please contact your doctor or dial 911. Well, hello everyone. How you doing? I hope you had a great week. My weeks are still in agony and pain, mostly, like most of yourselves out there, I know. As in reading all the Facebook pages that I have in dealing with neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy, all the nerve pains, I can see, the debate still over medications and which ones work, which ones don't. We're going to talk about the ones that are prescription drugs, not over the counter. These are going to be prescription drugs. Now, I tried so hard. I wanted to get away from the chronic pain issue that we've been talking about for the last 2-3 weeks. I wanted to change it up, but I fell right back into the same thing with the chronic pain again because, like I said, everything I've read online. But today, I want to talk about the medications, and there's 3 of them that I'm going to talk about today. But the reason why I want to talk about the medications is to give you guys a heads up and just some additional information that you can go ahead and talk with your doctor when you see them next. And, I take opiates, which I've told you guys for many, many years. At first, the very beginning when I started taking them, I did have an addiction. I took more than what I was supposed to during the day, and it got to the point where by the end of the month, I was out of pills. Then you get desperate. You're asking all your friends, like, someone else that has issues with the drugs, and you try to find them as best as you can. You keep going to all these different pharmacies to see if any of that is going to help. And of course it doesn't. It's all regulated. So I had to learn and teach myself not to be that way. And, because the part I feel is the worst is the dependency, how much you depend on those medications. And if you're out of them, your body just aches going through withdrawals. So this is something that I wanted to talk about today, and I'm going to kind of hurry along with this because I want to get in those 3 medications. And then hopefully by next episode, we can talk about something else besides chronic pain and give us a little bit of cheering up. So the medications I'm going to be talking about today are the most common that I hear and I know, because I've taken all these. The first one's going to be about Lyrica. The second one's going to be about Gabapentin. And the third one is going to be about Tramadol. Now, I've talked about that I've taken all these before. The only one I haven't taken is Tramadol. But I've taken other meds that are like, I've taken morphine. I've taken fentanyl patches. I've taken the oxycodones, oxycontins. I've taken the Vicodin. And right now I'm just fine with what I take, and that's going to be the Oxycontin and oxycodone or Percocet. Those are the 2 I'm taking. I used to take Lyrica. I used to take Gabapentin. Those didn't work. I think like one of those 2 happened to make me gain a lot of weight. Excuse me. But that wasn't the real issue. The real issue was that it just didn't work. It wasn't doing anything different or helping my body. And sorry. And another thing is antidepressants are types of painkillers, believe it or not. Now I take about 5 or 6 different antidepressants, all for different issues that I have with mental issues, and those don't really do anything in regards to the pain. These, even though they do say they are for that, they don't help me. at all for that. They just help me with the mental capacity to make it, through the day without depression, anger, those kind of things, which I feel that's what these medications are meant to do. I don't know. I guess the reason why it falls under the pain relievers is because of what it does to your brain, and I guess it kind of makes that part of your serotonin and those things in your brain kind of calm down a little bit. But I never found them to be used for that. I take them for other reasons. So let's go ahead and get started here with the Lyrica first. I'm just going to give you kind of a brief rundown about it. I may talk about, how they use it for pain, maybe a little bit of descriptions, but like I said, I don't want to get into it too heavy because I have 3 medications total I want to talk about within that 25 minutes. So as I list these medications, keep in mind that these are medications that were for me, not for you, for me, and I'm going to let you know what worked and what didn't work. So these are things that you need to talk to your doctor about. Let's hold on 1 second before we go on to Lyrica, because I just found something that's kind of interesting. This is a list of pain medications that are. I'm not going to really get into too much about them, but like I always say and do, is I always post these things to my Facebook page. But here's number 1. It's called Carfentanil. Carfentanil is a synthetic drug 10,000 times more powerful than morphine and 100 times more potent than medical-grade fentanyl itself. Number 2 is fentanyl. Fentanyl is also a synthetic opiate that is up to 50 times more than potent than heroin. Next is heroin. Heroin is the 3rd strongest narcotic and is semi-synthetic opiate derived from morphine, a natural compound that comes from the opium poppy. So number 4 is going to be hydromorphone. Hydromorphone is another powerful opiate that is up to 8 times more potent than morphine. Number 5 is going to be oxymorphone. At number 5, oxymorphone is still a very large opiate. Oxymorphone was available only in generic form at the time that this was written out, and may still be prescribed to treat moderate to severe pain. Now, mind you, some of these I haven't even heard of before. Here's number 6, methadone. While methadone is intended to be used under strict medical supervision to treat symptoms of opiate withdrawal, non-medical use is illegal. Methadone is not chemically similar to heroin or morphine, but still produces comparable effects of euphoria and relaxation. Now, what's so strange is that opiate right there, which is one I've told you I've taken before, I didn't use it to treat the withdrawals. I used it to stop the pain. So, that's kind of weird that one falls in the same category, Here's number 7, oxycodone. While oxycodone isn't as powerful as the aforementioned opiates, it is still a Schedule II drug with high potent potential for abuse and dependence. So, this one's used also for moderate to severe pain. But it doesn't, look, it's number 7. So there are other medications out there that we could possibly use. But again, too, we're going to get so used to it, the milligrams are going to start climbing. Number 9, hydrocodone. Hydrocodone is almost as potent as morphine and is described to treat moderate pain. Brand names for hydrocodone include Vicodin, Lortab, and Norco. More potent than codeine, hydrocodone is currently the most commonly prescribed opiate in the U.S. And like I told you, that is one I take. Number 10 is codeine. Codeine is an opiate that is weaker in potency and is generally prescribed to treat mild to moderate pain. It is often used with other medications such as Tylenol. So, those are the meds that you get when you got an earache or toothache or something like that. which to me in those cases it works pretty good. Number 11 is called meroperidine. Meroperidine, also known by the brand name Demerol, God, I haven't heard that one in a long time, was the first synthetic opiate ever developed. Meroperidine is less potent than many other opiates, but like all painkillers, still has the potential for abuse. Isn't Demerol the one that they give in spinal injections for women when they're going through childbirth? I thought that was the one they used. And then finally, number 12, on the lowest list comes Tramadol. Tramadol is the least potent drug on the pain medication list and has a similar potency to meroperidine, which is what we just talked about, but is considered to have less potential for chemical dependence, tolerance, and abuse. However, Tramadol, also known by the brand name Ultram, can still be misused by those suffering from addiction or pain conditions. So that was kind of interesting how these are ranked, which ones, but I would definitely talk to your doctor before any of those things are used. If you're not using them at this time, don't start, because take it from me, addiction is real and it can happen, and some of these too you can overdose on, and that's another thing that you need to be very careful with. I'd already been taking opiates for some time, and I bet last year the doctor finally asked me if I wanted to take some Narcan home with me or get a prescription for it. So I guess that's something that they're doing now. The doctors are making sure you have Narcan at home in case you overdose on it, which is a good thing. I'm glad I have it and to know it's there. But like I said, don't take any of these until you talk to your doctor. So I'm not going to go over a couple of these sections because I know we all know what they are. Like, what is neuropathy, what is neuropathic pain. But I do want to talk about the one big issue that they talk about here on this one page is, about antidepressants or anti-seizure medications and how they help with pain. So see, you gotta remember that not all antidepressants are for pain. Some of them don't work at all for that. So you need to be kind of cautious in regards to which ones, you get. And that's one of those things that we're going to be talking about too, is Cymbalta for that issue. And when it comes to the anti-seizure medications, some of those are the same thing. This class works by calming down the overactive pain signals caused by damaged nerves. Which these are some products that I've taken, and these are considered your Lyrica and your Gabapentin. And they're listed under, pain meds, but they're also anti-seizure medications, and sometimes these don't work on those issues. Look, right here it says, Gabapentin is FDA approved, but can be used in other types of neuropathic pain. So, and again, that didn't work for me. So something that doesn't work for me may still work for you. So there's nothing wrong with you asking your doctor for something, something like those two products that might help you with that. So let's go ahead and get into the final part of this here, where I talk about those 3 separate medications. But I believe we probably all taken over-the-counter medications before for the pain, which we all know they're not strong enough, they don't work. Things like, Tylenol, NSAIDs, which is like aspirin, Advil, Motrin, Aleve, they don't last as long. And then you have those topical patches like lidocaine, capsaicin, those, like the capsaicin for me, it burns my skin real bad. So, I have an allergic reaction to that. And also there's Aspartame and Bengay. Now, one thought and one thing I've heard is Bengay works real well on your feet at night. If your feet are in pain, just put some Bengay on there and it's supposed to work real good from what I've heard from others. And then we have the prescription pain relievers, which we're going to talk about 3 of them. But those are ones that treat cancer, fibromyalgia, migraines, arthritis, muscle pain, okay? So let's get into Tramadol first. Now, one thing I've noticed is when someone talks about Tramadol, Some may not know the linguistics of that product, but a lot of people ask, is it an opiate? But according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, it is. It's classified as a narcotic and an opiate. Tramadol acts on the central nervous system to relieve pain. While data indicates that the rate of tramadol misuse among patients is lower, and that's why I never took it because it seemed like it never worked, than that of many other opiates, drug does carry the risk of dependence and addiction. So then let me ask you this. Do you know the difference between an opiate and an opioid? I did not know there was two different things for myself when I looked this up. But both the drugs, they function the same way. They act on the body's opiate receptors to produce the power-killing effects. They also induce euphoric and sedating issues. Opiates, however, are directly derived from certain poppy plants. Some common opiates are morphine, codeine, and heroin. But when it comes to the opiates, they're in a category of opioids, but on the other hand, include both naturally derived opiates and synthetic opioids produced in a lab. Some well-known synthetic opiates are oxycodone, hydrocodone, fentanyl, and tramadol. And tramadol is also known by the brand name Ultram, is an opiate painkiller similar to codeine. So that's where it's not really that strong. Though it's synthesized in a lab, doctors usually prescribe opiates like tramadol for moderate to severe pain. These drugs also help with post-operative pain and chronic pain. And that tramadol is actually something that my brother-in-law takes. But he had surgery on one of his legs. He got in a motorcycle accident and broke it, and they had to use a pin from his bottom of his leg to his ankle to put it back together. And he's been using tramadol for maybe over 10 years at this point. So let's go ahead and talk about gabapentin. For me, gabapentin, I never thought of it being a pain relief medication. And it never worked for me. But gabapentin is used for other medications to prevent and control seizures. So when it comes to gabapentin, it's a medicine used to treat partial seizures, nerve pain from shingles, and restless leg syndrome. Now, for restless leg syndrome, I take Requip because, like I said, I never had no luck with gabapentin for anything. It works on chemical messengers in your brain and nerves. Gabapentin is from a group of medicines that are called anticonvulsants. There's different brands which are interchangeable, but see, this one right here is made for, I guess it said pain that isn't, intensive as what we have probably at this point, during this process we're going through. So now when it comes to Lyrica, this medication is used to treat pain caused by nerve damage due to diabetes, shingles, infection, or spinal cord injury. This medication is also used to treat pain in people with fibromyalgia. It is also used with other medications to treat certain types of seizures. See, now Lyrica is one of those also that falls under the possible of having an addiction to this medication, which, I never had that on that Lyrica at all. I'm going to say practically every day I'm having 2 or 3 different messages come across my phone about opiates and about the DEA and, those kind of things. And it's going to affect us all if they make these changes that they're, on doctors prescribing these medications to us, especially when you've already been taking it and you need it. I kind of wanted to stay from chronic pain sufferers, but there's no way I can do that. There's just too much information, and we all deal with this, so we all need to know about it. But I got a couple minutes here. Let me say one thing here. Because it says on this news report, it says opiates don't do enough for chronic pain sufferers. Chronic pain affects 1 in 6 people in the United States and around the world, and is the most common cause of disability. Yet medicine's just desperate attempts to treat chronic pain sparked the opiate epidemic. And while many promising non-opiate therapies exist, some of them newly developed patients face innumerable barriers to access them. You see what I mean? And there's no need to be doing that to us. Jeez. If they want this epidemic to stop with the opiates, they need us to try those new things that are coming out. They'll have less of a issue with us in regards to the overdoses and being hooked on it. And I've heard one product, and I don't know what it is, but there's one, I guess, that's out there that has less amount of you wanting it more and more. You're not going to have the issues of your body needing it and wanting it more. So let's continue here. To overcome the opiate epidemic, it is not enough to just reduce how many opiates physicians prescribe. We need to be able to offer patients evidence-based alternatives. Yet, for that to happen, we must also better understand the fundamental nature of chronic pain, which is as much an emotion we feel in our minds as it is a physical sensation experienced by our body. To continue, acceptance and commitment therapy and exercise are both safer and more effective for chronic pain than opiates, which can actually increase how much those with chronic pain hurt. Now, here's the one thing that scares me. Sometimes when you're taking these medications for so long, especially these opiates, you can run into problems with pancreatitis, and maybe other issues that aren't mentioned here, but here we go. Unfortunately, services such as physical or cognitive therapy were hit hard by COVID-19 pandemic. And given that there are only 74 certified pain rehab centers in the entire U.S., the need and demand far exceeds the supply of these potent remedies. Wow. I hope you guys got a lot out of this podcast episode. Information that you can take back to your doctor and maybe make some changes to your regimen and the types of medications you're taking, and see what your doctor says and see if they're going to benefit you. I know there's products out there that do help somewhat, but all I can say is please just be careful about increasing your milligrams all the time, because then you can get hooked on it, and it's hard to come back from that because you have the withdrawals, and it's better just to try to find other alternatives that you can use, supplements, that might increase your vitamins in your body. I mean, sometimes those work too a little bit. Every little bit helps, but that's where you come in, and that's where I come in, where I have to find and where I want to find best information I can get for you. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you next Monday. Bye. As we come to a close, it's my hope this podcast and other sources, such as product reviews that I have discussed today, can better our lives and give us some relief dealing with neuropathy. This episode plus others are posted every Monday on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. And finally, whatever life throws at you, even if it hurts you, just be strong and fight through it. Remember, strong walls shake, but never collapse. Talk to you next Monday.